What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, usually this close to a movie's release like Thor Love and Thunder, we would have some sort of teaser trailer or trailer released, and it's very noticeable by the malcontent of the fans online. We are confused as to why we haven't gotten it yet. Now, I think it may be a little obvious that even the state of the MCU may be a major spoiler in that Thor Love and Thunder trailer for the end of Doctor Strange, and that's why we won't get it until attached to the end of that film. But usually by this point we would have a first look, which means when all of these toys start getting released in promotion for the marketing of the film, it's not the first look we've gotten at characters. Well, in the case of Thor Love and Thunder, for all of the toy sets that have come out up until yesterday, when all of the Marvel Legend figures came out, that's going to be our first look at not only Gore, but multiple versions of what's going on with Thor. And believe it or not, just from this Marvel Legends run, we can tell quite a bit about the plot, where Thor has been, what he's been up to, what's going on with Jane Foster, and of course, the first look at Gore. We're going to break down all of the new figures and first character looks that we got yesterday. There were a ton of them, and I would say that we're not going to try to draw too many conclusions, but who's kidding who? That's exactly what we're going to do and what I do here at the channel. Speaking of which, if you're into daily Marvel content that draws a lot of conclusions, that's what we do, and that's all we do here at the channel. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews to the occasional toy release for a Marvel movie, industry insider scoops, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. That'll automatically enter you for our ongoing PS5 giveaway, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so while I don't think this video really warrants a spoiler warning, what I will say is that while we're obviously going to go over the characters and their reveals, where they show up in the story, how they relate to one another, there are going to be some very obvious plot points that follow in the video, and if you've somehow made it to now and don't want to know anything about the upcoming Thor Love and Thunder, if it's going to ruin that experience or the Marvel Phase 4 experience for you, only you know if you're susceptible to that kind of thing, and you might want to back out now. Okay, here's a top-down look at the 7 new figures we got for Thor Love and Thunder coming out later this year, and we're going to go figure by figure because I think there are some reveals in each one. The first thing I want to point out is that indeed Mighty Thor, who's actually Jane Foster, has a Mjolnir. Now, I have a video coming out later this week I've already started on which Mjolnir I think this is, how it was put back together, where it came from, and what it's doing in this story, and we'll talk about that later because it really warrants its own video, but we at least now know via this and some of the other reveals she will be wielding her own version of the hammer. The next character up is Groot, which obviously we can tell here he's no longer the small child Groot we saw in the earlier Guardians of the Galaxy, but he's not a full-grown Groot either. This is literally teenage Groot, the same age we saw when they left Earth, coinciding with Star-Lord, as you can see here at the bottom. And then next to them, we know that now, at least at the beginning of the film for Thor Love and Thunder, they'll be picking up where we left off in Avengers Endgame. As you can see, Thor here wearing the Ravager garb.
You're wearing Ravager garb!
Literally, that jacket now, the explainer is that it's a Ravager jacket, just that Thor has pulled the sleeves off. And you think about a group like the Ravagers, and then you think about Thor's power level and how they were always getting up to no good, and then what it would be like if you had Thor on your team. It just upgrades the Ravagers to a whole new level. Quick side note, only because it's apropos to this video and just hit social media, someone just asked James Gunn point blank if we would ever see them return on Disney Plus. He wouldn't seem to debunk that with the veracity that he normally will if something's a rumor, and there have been rumors of this for a while, so fingers crossed we will get some of that James Gunn TV magic that he brought to Peacemaker in the future of Disney Plus and a Ravagers group. But we at least now know they're going to sew up those loose ends and show us where Thor was, what he was doing whenever he gets back to Earth to meet up with King Valkyrie, who has obviously changed her clothes and look quite a bit, but retains sort of the Valkyrie colors. What I will say about this is that her stunt double actually posted a picture to Instagram that made its rounds not so long ago. I'm not going to throw it in this video in case it would get copyright struck, but she was already wearing this outfit, so a lot of the fan base had already seen it. I also want to jump over to Thor's new armor that I've heard mixed reviews about, the gold and the blue, but honestly, I think this armor looks amazing, and I can't wait to see this powered all the way up at the end of the film, fighting side by side by Valkyrie and the mighty Thor Jane Foster. Now, moving past these 6 figures, if you're wondering where Korg is, he's actually the Build-A-Figure that comes in this run. But I want to move up here to Christian Bale's character, Gore. Now, interestingly enough, the way they've made this look, not only in the figure, because look, they can only do so much with a face sculpt in a plastic figure with a couple points of articulation anyway, especially in likeness of the character. We know, especially when it comes to Marvel characters, sometimes these faces haven't lined up at all. And sometimes in the case of Paul Rudd and Ant-Man, they absolutely do. In fact, that figure's sitting on my desk with that stupid little grin. But you can tell from the side portrait here, that's also part of the promotional stuff that goes into the packaging, and we'll see this image in other places, I'm sure, leading up to the film, that it looks as though they've gone with a slightly more human look for Gore the God Butcher, as opposed to what he normally looks like. Now, I'm not saying there couldn't be some CGI on top of him, but if he had the normal head tendrils and or looked a little more like Voldemort as we've seen him portrayed in the Marvel Comics, then this wouldn't exactly be an accurate figure. It looks as though they've decided to opt for something that's a little more along the lines of you color all of the skin the same way they did with Drax, a sort of gray color, and then you don't do the CGI overlay so that you can really capture the facial expressions and the actor that is Christian Bale. Did I just say facial expression? And if I did, the editor will grab it. Or he won't, and he'll leave this in. It'll be a fun little blooper for you guys to enjoy. Rather, the less CGI you have, the more of the actor you can capture, and I wonder if Christian Bale and his ilk just didn't have something to do with setting that up and how the character would be portrayed, but that might also be part of what's going on with Marvel. The other thing that I will point out is that a little detail here on the figures, which is super interesting, they did really pay attention to detail. Notice Gore's fingers here all tinged in black, and that's related to the Necrosword that he's got in the package with him. Now, the Necrosword in and of itself is its own Easter egg. It has lineage that ties him to Null, the god of symbiotes, and actually forward looks towards some major villains, and that is the source of its own video, but B, it would be way too much to cover in this video, and I've already done it several times here at the channel. What I will say about this figure reveal is that normally Marvel Legends will put 3 or 4 figures in a run and then attach 2 or 3 characters that have nothing to do with the movie to that run. In the case of Shang-Chi, there was an AI Tony Stark. In the case of the most recent Doctor Strange Legends run, one of the characters I actually believe was Nightmare, which now, having seen that last trailer, maybe that wasn't the fake figure. But they do normally slide a couple of figures that aren't in the film into the run. What I like about this Legends run of 7 figures is that the Build-A-Figure is included in all characters that you'll see in the film. There's not one character in this run that's not in Thor Love and Thunder, which tells me the ensemble of cast, it's poignantly written, and all of these characters have enough place and space in the story to warrant them having a figure. They don't have to slide a couple of characters that aren't in the film in here just to sell toys. To me, that's a major up. I'm super hyped for this. I know some of us are hoping for a trailer this week. I also reported on the internal pre-screener, which some details continue to come out about that aren't spoilers or NDA against language, stuff like that. Just basically that people standing ovationed it and that it was incredible, and that hopefully that means we're getting a trailer soon because they're moving forward with that final cut of the film. Regardless of all that, let me know your hype down in the comments below. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Okay, we're still giving away PlayStation 5s every 20,000 subscribers all the way up to 1 million. If you want to be entered to win or for any of the future giveaways at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way I'm doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on, because these days with the YouTube algorithm, if you don't, you may never see my channel again. And as always, if you like today's video, no, I'm serious. If you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. I'm serious, guys. All the channels I watch on YouTube, I open up my homepage, none of them are there. There's only, I'd say, less than 15 channels I've watched in the last 2 years, and none of them are on my homepage. YouTube, what are you doing? Regardless, guys, my name's Michael Roman. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking me out there, thanks for checking me out here. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.